The movie begins by pulling us deep into the life of an impoverished family in Seoul, South Korea. This family consists of 4 members: the father, Ki-taek, his wife Chung-suk, their daughter Ki-young, and son Ki-woo. They live in a cramped semi-basement apartment that barely gets sunlight. The window of their home opens up to a dingy alley, where drunkards often urinate and insects swarm. The walls are damp and peeling. The family struggles daily to survive. Their finances are in ruins, and they rely on menial jobs to make ends meet. One such job is folding pizza boxes for a nearby shop, but even this doesn't pay enough to cover their expenses. Their existence feels hopeless, bound to poverty, yet the family clings to each other with a mix of humor and resilience. One day, fortune seems to knock at their door. Min-hyuk, Ki-woo's university friend, pays them a visit. He brings a peculiar gift, an ornamental scholar's stone. According to tradition, this stone symbolizes wealth and good fortune. Ki-woo accepts it gratefully, though he doesn't realize how ominously it will shape his family's fate. During their conversation, Ki-woo shares his difficulties with Min-hyuk. He explains that he cannot continue his studies because of financial troubles, and that his family is drowning in poverty. Min-hyuk, who is preparing to go abroad for further education, makes a generous offer. He suggests that Ki-woo temporarily take over his job as an English tutor for a wealthy high school girl named Dahae, the daughter of the affluent Park family. At first, Ki-woo hesitates. He admits he isn't a college graduate and worries the Parks won't accept him. But Min-hyuk assures him, "Don't worry. I'll vouch for you. Besides, I know you're capable." He also suggests Ki-woo have a fake university certificate made. Ki-woo's sister, Ki-young, a talented graphic designer, forges a realistic-looking degree for him. With this false identity, Ki-woo prepares for his new role. The following day, Ki-woo arrives at the luxurious home of the Park family. The mansion stands in stark contrast to his shabby basement. Designed by a famous architect, the house is open, spacious, filled with natural light, and guarded by high walls and a lavish garden. Ki-woo meets Yeon-kyo, the naive and impressionable mother of the household. She introduces him to her teenage daughter, Dahae. During the interview, Ki-woo displays confidence, intelligence, and charm. He wins over Yeon-kyo easily and is hired as Dahae's English tutor. While tutoring, Ki-woo notices Yeon-kyo's younger son, Da-song, an energetic little boy with a passion for art. Yeon-kyo laments that no teacher has been able to handle him or nurture his talent. Sensing an opportunity, Ki-woo cunningly mentions that he knows someone, his cousin, a skilled art therapist named Jessica. Of course, Jessica is none other than his sister, Ki-young. Soon after, Ki-young arrives at the Park home, posing as Jessica. She presents herself as a confident, sophisticated professional. In her very first session, she impresses Yeon-kyo by inventing complex psychological theories about Da-song's drawings. Yeon-kyo, gullible and easily persuaded, hires her immediately. The siblings' plan has now begun to unfold. They're infiltrating the Park household one by one, each under a false identity. The next step is to find a place for their father, Ki-taek. To make this happen, Ki-young devises a scheme to oust the Park family's chauffeur. While riding with him one evening, she discreetly plants her underwear in the car. Later, Yeon-kyo finds the underwear and is horrified. Convinced that the driver has been using the car for sexual escapades, she fires him at once. Ki-woo and Ki-young seize this opportunity to recommend a trustworthy replacement, their father. They introduce Ki-taek as a skilled, experienced chauffeur, carefully hiding his true relation to them. Ki-taek impresses the Park patriarch, Dong-ik, with his professionalism and secures the job. 3 members of the Kim family are now inside the Park household. Only their mother remains. To complete the plan, they need to remove the Park's longtime housekeeper, Moon-gwang. She has served the Parks for years and is deeply trusted, making her difficult to replace. But the Kims are determined. They discover Moon-gwang has a severe allergy to peaches. Even a trace of peach fuzz can trigger violent coughing fits. Using this weakness, the Kims orchestrate a cruel deception. Ki-young secretly sprinkles peach fuzz on Moon-gwang, causing her to have allergic reactions. Soon after, they stage a scenario where Ki-taek accidentally suggests to Yeon-kyo that Moon-gwang might have tuberculosis. To strengthen this lie, Ki-taek captures a photo of Moon-gwang at a hospital and manipulates the evidence. Terrified for her family's safety, Yeon-kyo panics. When she sees Moon-gwang coughing blood-stained tissues, she becomes convinced that her housekeeper has a dangerous illness. Out of fear, she dismisses Moon-gwang from her job. With the position now vacant, the Kims insert their mother, Chung-suk, as the new housekeeper. She's introduced under a false name and quickly earns Yeon-kyo's trust. At last, the Kim family has infiltrated the entire Park household. Each member has secured a role: Ki-woo as the English tutor, Ki-young as the art therapist, Ki-taek as the chauffeur, and Chung-suk as the housekeeper. The Parks remain blissfully unaware that their employees are all related. For the Kims, life takes a dramatic turn. From living in a dingy semi-basement, they now dine on the Park's leftovers, drink their expensive liquor, and enjoy luxuries they never dreamed of. They live under the same roof as the wealthy family, exploiting their trust while hiding their true identities. But this seemingly perfect arrangement will not last. Darkness begins to creep into the story point one weekend. The Park family decides to go on a camping trip for Dasong's birthday. Seizing the opportunity, the Kims indulge themselves. They feast, drink, and lounge around the luxurious house, enjoying the life of the rich. For the first time, they feel like they belong. Their celebration, however, is abruptly interrupted when the doorbell rings. Standing outside is the dismissed housekeeper, Moon-gwang. Drenched from the rain, she begs to be let in, claiming she left something important in the basement. Reluctantly, Chung-suk opens the door and allows her inside. Moon-gwang rushes straight to the kitchen and begins struggling with a large cabinet that blocks access to the basement. The Kims are puzzled. When Chung-suk helps move the cabinet, a hidden passageway is revealed. The secret leads to a concealed underground bunker, built by the house's original architect as a shelter during war. To the Kims' shock, Moon-gwang reveals her secret. For years, she has been hiding her husband, Gun-sae, in this underground bunker. He is a man crushed by debt, who has been living in secrecy beneath the Park's feet. He survives by secretly consuming food from the household, smuggled to him by Moon-gwang. The Parks know nothing about this, as they are too detached to notice the hidden corners of their own home. Moon-gwang pleads with Chung-suk to continue helping her husband survive. She offers to pay for her kindness. But Chung-suk refuses, threatening to call the police. Suddenly Ki-taek, Ki-woo, and Ki-young appear, having overheard everything. Their cover is blown. Moon-gwang quickly realizes the truth. The Kims are all related, and they have conned their way into the Park household. She records a video on her phone, capturing them addressing each other as family. With this evidence, she threatens to expose their secret to the Parks. Now the tension escalates. The Kims and Moon-gwang's family struggle violently inside the mansion. The situation is chaotic, dangerous, and spiraling out of control. Just when it seems things cannot get worse, Yeon-kyo calls to announce that the camping trip was cancelled due to heavy rain. The Parks are on their way back home, and they'll arrive in 8 minutes. The Kims must act fast. The tension rises as the Parks are only minutes away from returning home. The Kim family scrambles into action. First, they subdue Moon-gwang and her husband Gun-sae. After a desperate struggle, they drag the couple back into the underground bunker and tie them up. The Kims work frantically to clean the house, hide all traces of their chaotic encounter, and prepare food just in time. When the Parks walk through the door, everything appears perfectly normal, at least to them. But beneath the surface, the Kims are shaken. That night, Dasong insists on sleeping in a tent outside in the garden. Concerned for his safety, Mr. Park and Yeon-kyo choose to camp inside the living room, keeping an eye on him through the glass windows. Meanwhile, unknown to them, the 3 Kim family members, Ki-woo, Ki-young, and Ki-taek, remain trapped under the coffee table. From their hiding place, the Kims overhear an intimate conversation between Mr. Park and his wife. They whisper about their employees, especially Ki-taek, commenting on his unpleasant body odor. Mr. Park describes it as a smell that crosses the line, the kind of odor that clings to people who live in poverty, those from the lower depths of society. Ki-taek listens silently, but his dignity is wounded. He realizes that no matter how hard they try to disguise themselves, their poverty marks them in ways the wealthy will always recognize. Eventually, the Parks fall asleep. Under the cover of darkness, the Kims crawl out and return to their own semi-basement. But when they arrive, they are met with devastation. The heavy rain has flooded the neighborhood. Their home is submerged in filthy water, sewage rising through the toilet and soaking their belongings. They lose almost everything. Forced to seek shelter in a gymnasium with other displaced families, the Kims face a grim reminder. No matter how close they get to wealth, they cannot escape the crushing weight of poverty. The following morning, despite their losses, the Kims must resume their roles at the Park household. Yeon-kyo has organized a grand birthday party for Dasong, inviting friends and family. She asks both Ki-woo and Ki-young to attend as tutors, unaware of the turmoil consuming them. The Parks, oblivious to the disaster outside their bubble, go about their lives as if nothing has happened. To them, the rain was simply an inconvenience, a reason to cancel a camping trip. For the Kims, it destroyed their home. This stark contrast highlights the enormous divide between the two families. As preparations for the party unfold, Ki-woo becomes increasingly troubled. He carries the scholar's stone, the gift his friend once gave him, believing it symbolizes hope and destiny. But the stone also feels like a curse, a weight he cannot escape. Determined to confront the problem in the bunker, Ki-woo sneaks down to the basement, clutching the stone in his hands. There, he discovers Moon-gwang has died from injuries sustained the night before. Her husband, Gun-se is alive but filled with rage and grief. Before Ki-woo can react, Gun-se ambushes him. He overpowers the young man, ties him with a rope, and brutally strikes him with the scholar's stone. With vengeance burning inside him, Gun-se escapes from the bunker and storms into the garden where Dasong's birthday party is underway. Guests are laughing, eating, and enjoying the sunny afternoon. The cheerful scene turns into horror when Gun-se suddenly appears, wielding a knife. He attacks Ki-young, stabbing her in the chest. Blood pours from her wound as chaos erupts. Children scream, guests scatter, and panic consumes the party. Chung-suk rushes forward, engaging Gun-se in a desperate fight. In the struggle, she kills him with a skewer, but her daughter lies gravely wounded. Meanwhile, Ki-taek rushes to his daughter's side, pressing on her wound in a futile attempt to stop the bleeding. But his attention is drawn to Mr. Park, who is desperately searching for his car keys to drive his fainted son Dasong to the hospital. The keys lie near Gun-se's corpse. When Mr. Park approaches the body, he recoils in disgust at the man's odor, covering his nose as he picks up the keys. At that moment, something inside Ki-taek snaps. The memory of overhearing the Parks mock his smell, the humiliation of his family's poverty, and the fresh sight of his dying daughter, all collide in an explosion of rage. Unable to bear it any longer, he seizes a knife and stabs Mr. Park to death in front of the terrified crowd. The once perfect party descends into bloodshed and hysteria. In the chaos, Ki-taek vanishes. No one sees where he goes. Days later, Ki-woo awakens in a hospital. He miraculously survived the attack, though the head injury leaves him with lingering psychological trauma. His sister Ki-young, however, did not survive. The tragedy has shattered the family. Ki-woo and his mother Chung-suk face trial for fraud and deception. Yet, due to lack of evidence, they are spared heavy punishment. They are released with only probation, left to rebuild their broken lives. The Park residence is eventually sold to a wealthy German family, who move in unaware of the horrors that occurred within its walls. To them, the mansion is simply another luxurious property. But Ki-taek is nowhere to be found. He has gone into hiding, secretly taking refuge in the underground bunker. By day, he lives in silence and darkness. By night, he sends secret Morse code messages by flickering the house's electric lights, a signal of his existence. Ki-woo, still grieving, eventually notices these flickering signals from afar. Using binoculars, he deciphers his father's coded message. The realization strikes him. His father is alive, trapped beneath the very house where everything collapsed. Ki-woo is overcome with sorrow and guilt. He longs to free his father, but knows he is powerless. Still, he makes a promise. In his heart, he vows to study hard, work tirelessly, and one day earn enough money to buy the mansion himself. In his vision, he imagines the day when he will sign the deed, step into the bright living room, and embrace his father as he finally emerges from the basement. The fantasy is vivid, filled with hope. Ki-woo sees himself reunited with his father, free from the chains of poverty. But as the camera slowly shifts back to the semi-basement, the truth is revealed. He is still there, trapped in the same cycle of poverty, dreaming of a future that may never come. The film ends with this haunting contrast between dream and reality, between the fantasy of escape and the crushing permanence of social inequality. Closing narration Parasite is not just a story about one poor family and one rich family. It is a chilling reflection of class struggle, inequality, and the invisible lines that divide society. The Kim family's attempt to rise above their circumstances brings them only tragedy, exposing the brutal truth that opportunity, in a world of deep division, often comes at the cost of destruction. And so the story closes, with a dream of reunion, overshadowed by the harsh reality that it will remain only a dream.